religion, in the name of particular sect, or in the name of particular fad or fashion. You don't have to be carried away by their glib tongue. You got to keep your rational power, your understanding to yourself. And that is the key. You will be able to change yourself, and you will be able to change us, those who have not been able to do that. God bless you. Thank you very much.
The floor will now be open to debate. I call for a motion to adopt this proposition. Yes, defense.
Honorable Chair, motion to discuss whether an increase or decrease should be made in the budgets of the respective ministries sitting.
Is there anyone to second the motion? Yes, ma'am. You second the motion. The floor is now open to a discussion on whether an increment should be made to a ministry or not. Is there anyone to raise the motion? The defense should have the first say. They have raised the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. If I should just mention in the beginning that the Sasti Roti scheme is a provincial topic and should not be discussed in
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would like to add that the Ministry of Education just said that the Bangladesh sports budget is more than Pakistan's. I want to add that Bangladesh is not fighting war from all sides of the border. They're not being affected by all these things. We just have to realize the gravity of the matter, that defense is more important than all other ministries, and Pakistan is in a state of war at the moment. And during this time, these states, like 27% has been spent on health, and Pakistan is 112 in law and gender inequality. These things are quite meaningless. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. First of all, I would like to make a little clarity about our stance, which I believe has been misinterpreted by the Minister of Defense. First of all, at the very start of my speech, I pointed out that our ministry very much depends upon the Ministry of Defense. I did not at all say that we must not fight wars with weapons. But what I said was that we require a different approach, an approach in which we also provide them economic opportunities so that those extremists would leave their extremist ways and look for other alternatives. Ladies and gentlemen, 70% of extremists that join extremism or terrorist forces is because they're not been provided employment opportunities. And that is what we need to provide to them. And secondly, first I would also like to point out that we do require, the Ministry of Foreign Ministry does not require a lot of increment in its budget, because there are plenty of things to take care. Just to specify a few, we need more funds to facilitate overseas Pakistanis. We need to demand budget for the maintenance of embassies abroad and to establish more embassies in other countries. And finally, we need more budget for lobbyists in other political important states, in which our liaison with them is very important. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would first like to point out that the defense budget is at 442.2 billion rupees, a 17% increase from the year 2010. I would like to ask the House, where is Pakistan having a war? What border are you talking about? Next, you say that the terrorists need jobs. Terrorism is an ideological struggle. It is unrelated to any economical strife. Hasn't the army squandered enough money from all of us? You talk about India as our biggest enemy. India itself has alienated itself from terrorism. They have cut down the defense budget in order to grow their economic ministry. Don't you want to grow in the basis of science and technology so that you can further yourself? Why do you want to keep fighting? What sort of war are you talking about? What state of war is Pakistan in? I would like to know that. Thank you.
Members of this assembly must introduce their ministry at first, and please speak loudly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Representing the Education Ministry, as said by the Defense Ministry, they said that in rural and tribal areas, schools are just being left and people are not going. So I would like to state that due to Talibanization, complete ban on female education in Swat is done as reported in January 21st, 2009 issue of the news. 400 private schools with 40,000 girls have been shut down. 10 schools were blown by Taliban in Mangora after January 15, 2009. So I would like to question that what is the Defense Ministry doing when so many people are not being granted their right to education and are not being protected by the Taliban? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The purpose of this motion was not to point out the inefficiencies of other ministries. It was to discuss why do we need the increase in ministries. The Defense Ministry can easily say that they're happy and they're working quite efficiently because they have been kept happy. Their budget keeps on increasing every year. As far as I think the Science and Technology Ministry said that India has not increased it. India has actually increased the budget. However, just because India has increased the budget does not mean that we have to increase the budget as well. This is what is known as militarization of minds. Why should we that is what they're practicing. They're practicing reverse psychology. Why should we respond to our insecurities? And if they're increasing the budget, then why should we increase the budget? Also, the Defense Ministry, how can the Defense Ministry actually justify the fact that according to estimates, 60 billion rupees can be spent on GHQ headquarters, which are moving from Rawalpindi to Islamabad? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Respected Minister of Defense made an impressive speech.
Member of the session, you are to address the speaker, not your contemporaries.
Sorry. Honorable
Kindly
Chair,
introduce the ministry you are representing first. health.
Respected Minister of Defense made an impressive speech, but rather a fake. I would recommend that the Minister of Defense not to get emotional, but rather speak on proofs. May I ask him, as he mentioned, that we are fighting a war, or should I say, an imposed war, on our eastern borders. United States is financing us for that war. On what basis is he asking for an increase in their budget? I recommend they spend the finance from United States on the war rather than increasing the pocket money of officials of the Defense Ministry.
The Ministry of Science and Technology would like to clarify a point. The point is that India has increased its defense budget, which every country has the right to do so, but comparable to last year's budget, India's budget this year is less than what it was. The percentage has increased, but it is less than what it was. And also, I would like to ask the Ministry of Petroleum. They're saying that they want to be allotted a budget which they could spend overseas for science and technological advancements. Why don't you allot the same budget to your Ministry of Science and Technology, and you could bring down the interest that the debt of the GDP that you pay each year. According to the overview of the federal budget of Pakistan 2010 to 2009, which I have in my hand right now, the debt of GDP ratio has climbed up to 55%. You want to invest and ask for aid from foreign countries so that your debt ratio, GDP ratio would rise. So can you please tell us why won't you collaborate with your own Ministry of Science and Technology instead of going abroad and asking them for any sort of resources? Thank you.
Yes, sir. You.
There has been a 30% decrease in the agriculture sector. I would like to say that the 44% of the labor force out of all the ministries has been employed by our sector, that is the agriculture, livestock and food sector. So 44% of the labor force needs money, and we need wages to pay them. The budget we have is only 10 billion, which is way less than the defense budget. So that is why the main problem we are facing is the allocation of the payment that we have to give to the workers. Thank you.
Defense.
I want to reply that we were not telling the inefficiencies of the relevant ministries. We were telling that they are not operating in a very quite a simple way. And secondly, I would like to add that only $2.5 billion are only given for us to finance our defense, and there's an expenditure of more than 2.5 billion. So therefore, we need to increase the defense budget.
Honorable Chair, 2 billion we receive from the United States of America as aid, but we spent $22 billion. Why? If you want an answer to that, go to the National Assembly, legislate a law, and kick them out. But until we are in the state of war, we need finance. Honorable Chair, furthermore, the Ministry of Defense also deserves an increase in the budget, because we are the only third world country of the war that is a nuclear weapon state. Can you point to another state of the globe? Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Defense is requested to keep the discussion pertinent to the subject at hand. Defense has also exceeded the budget allocated to it last year, which amounted to $236 billion. $30 billion have been exceeded up till the first half of the last financial year, and it is prognosticated that it will go to $90 billion. The committee is requested to present stronger arguments for the allocation. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we're talking about the justifications of Pakistan's defense budget. But it is a pity that at a time when the international community is waging a successful struggle against many of the preventable diseases, Pakistan's battle has been a losing one. How can anybody explain the high incidence rates of tuberculosis, polio, and malaria in the country? According to National Tuberculosis Control Program, Pakistan ranks 8th amongst the high TB burden countries in the world and the first in WHO Eastern Mediterranean region. Every year, 250,000 new cases and 60,000 deaths due to TB occur in the country. Similarly, 50,000 people die of malaria every year. One may well ask why Pakistan has failed, where other countries have shown a remarkable degree of success. Honorable Speaker, in the first place, the political will has been badly missing. No government in Pakistan has sincerely regarded this to be its basic responsibility to improve the health of its citizens. The health sector has been poorly funded in terms of financial allocations and policy planning and implementation. Honorable Speaker, even today the government spends approximately less than 3% of its total expenditure on health. Being a Pakistani, I feel uncomfortable to say that Pakistan is spending more than $22 billion per year on defense, whilst the health sector is being severely neglected. Millions of people are dying because of infectious and other avoidable health problems, but unfortunately, the Pakistani government cannot appreciate the importance of it. The government cannot recognize its enemy, which is the ailing health sector that undermines the economy and health in Pakistan. Honorable Speaker, therefore, I would like the support of this as Parliament for the increase in budget in the health sector, because if there is an increase in the health sector, security of not Pakistan but of every citizen living in this country will be guaranteed. Thank you.
From the sector of education. As the defense sector said that $2 billion is allocated to the defense sector every year, there has not been any... USA is... Oh, sorry, sir. Thank you, Honorable Sir.
Education to rest. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for allowing me to speak to you. That was very kind of you. Anyway, I would like to say that, as you know, the tour we hold, our ministry...
Which ministry do you represent, member?
Foreign Affairs and Trade Ministry. As you know, our Foreign Affairs and Trade Ministry has the duty of increasing relations with other countries, especially allies and non-ally countries. Now, we feel that our main strength in this purpose is the tourists coming in Pakistan, many international tourists coming in Pakistan. Now, if you see that, for example, I have an example. You see our relations with China, they are very nice. Why? Because you see many Chinese people working in Pakistan, many Chinese people are doing their jobs in Pakistan. But unfortunately, many we need to attract Western businesses, we need to attract Western tourists to come in Pakistan so that we can have more reserves here.
Members of the Assembly are requested to maintain the decorum of the session. It is disrespectful. There is members addressing all of you and me. Please continue.
And I would like to say that we should, and I would also like to refer to the Defense Ministry that instead of defending the country from external threats, they should defend the tourists in Pakistan, because as you know, there is a lot of militant violence and insecurity in Pakistan. There are a lot of protests and a lot of dangers to Pakistan, and whenever an international tourist comes to Pakistan, he feels that his life is in danger, and that's why he's scared of coming to Pakistan. That's why
Foreign Affairs, you are pursuing the case of the Tourism Ministry. What recommendations do you have that can be implemented?
I have the recommendation that the Defense Ministry should help on defending to provide security for the tourists coming in Pakistan instead of working against external powers.
It is not under the mandate of the defense sector to provide security to tourists within the country. We have civil authorities, the Interior Ministry has to do it. Do you have any other recommendations? No? You rest. Petroleum. My apologies, not petroleum, science and technology.
The Ministry of Science and Technology would like to argue its stance on the increase of the budget that it has asked for. I would like to introduce the PCST, Pakistan Council for Science and Technology, that is responsible to advise the government on science and technological policies and plans, and suggest implementation and application. So the PCST links together the research and development sectors and industrial sector provincial departments, ministries and policy making, which highlights its importance in providing a cohesive structure of improvement for Pakistan, which is why it is important that we allocate an increased budget for the Ministry of Science and Technology. I would also like to point out over here that research and development regarding science and technology go more through the budget, and every ministry requires to see the same. And so does almost every other ministry, including the Ministry of Defense, which requires science and technology and research and development in order to further the technological advancement with which it is clearly wanting. The foreign affairs is based on maintaining trade. Trade is aided by, again, science and technology. China supplies trade and technology to Pakistan. We can cut that down if you allocate an increased budget to the Ministry of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I'm representing the Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs. Before coming to the motion, I would like to say what is the Defense Ministry trying to imply when it was saying that everybody else beside itself was corrupt and could not be depended on. We should all realize over here that the reason why the institutions beside defense are not in their proper position is the very reason that the Defense Ministry has dominated power in this country, and this respected parliament has never been respected as it should. Now, I would like to state that the Constitution of Pakistan that carries the Islamic ideological foundation. In accordance to that, we should learn from our Islamic tradition, and we should, and Islam, it specifies that the state is responsible for equal access to justice, health, and law. And saying that, I would like to also say that the central issue in Pakistan that everybody knows is justice, and the only problem that we have lack of tourism, and we have even terrorism and everything else. Everything is dependent upon our justice, as we don't have. You know very well that the lawyers movement. It got the greatest response in Pakistan because the central issue for the public today is justice. And we know that half of the cases in Pakistan go unreported, and those who are 70% are not ever resolved. Thank you.
How does your ministry intend to use the budget, whatsoever is allocated to it, for the smooth dispensation of law and justice?
For the law and justice, as we said previously, we want a 50% increase minimum in our justice department. And why? The reason is that we need anti-corruption cells to eradicate corruption. Other than that,
you already have
we need law colleges. We need law colleges for better lawyers at international standard. We need to organize international conferences.
Our current budget is to be 1,000 million.
Yes, it is, and that's as much as environment is needed. That if we, as I said, the central issue of our country is justice, and justice is a secondary concern in the policy making of this country. And I would also like to add that the computerization of our courts is very necessary because our cases are never resolved isolated. These are the some reasons for why we believe that we need an increase and increment in our legislation.
law colleges are not the purview of the Department of Justice. To the rest, I would like to announce that there will be one mic circulated now, and the lady that will be coming to each other. Yes, sir.
The Ministry of Water and Power would like to highlight the strategic importance of adequate power supply is key to achieving sustainable economic growth. Presently, out of around 170 million population, only 65 to 70% has access to electricity, and government is committed to provide electricity access to total population in the minimum possible time. The strong and increasing demand for electricity has outstripped supply of electricity. The country is currently facing power shortages of approximately 2,500 to 500 megawatts. It is expected that demand will exceed the supply by about 7,500 megawatts in the year 2011. The present electricity demand supply gap clearly indicates a fundamental need for enhancing the country's power generation capabilities. Honorable Speaker, we, the Ministry of Water and Power, are of the opinion that there be further investments in the water and power sector to rid us of this evil and provide better life to our average citizens. For that, we request the Honorable Speaker and the Government of Pakistan to allocate sufficient funds for the paying of the circular debt issue, as a lot of our income is stuck because of the non-payment by the government departments in particular. This has also halted our payments to oil companies, because of which we sometimes are unable to purchase the required amount of oil for power generation purposes. Thus, we have to increase load shedding, which is detrimental for the society. We would also request to allocate more money for alternate sources of energy, such as windmills and nuclear power plants, so that cost of production per unit is drastically reduced, and that would immediately help lessen the burden of high cost per unit. In addition, we need to focus on the hydropower potential of Pakistan and utilize it to help us in power generation and water supply. Pakistan is endowed with a hydro potential of approximately 59,773 megawatts, most of which is contributed by the North West Frontier province, now known as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit Baltistan, Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, and however, an abundant hydro potential is still untapped, which needs to be harnessed. Currently existing hydro power stations in Pakistan are the Talwela Dam, which contributes 3,478 megawatts, Ghazi Baroda 1,450 megawatts, Mangla Dam 1,000 megawatts, Warsak Dam 240 megawatts, Chashma 184 megawatt. And there are also under construction dams in Pakistan. There are a lot of under construction dams.
Water and power, you have any specific recommendations?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I am just coming.
You would like to hear?
So, under construction dams are Komal Sam Dam project, Irani Dam project, Mangla Dam, Racing project, Sabaksai Dam, and Satpara Dam. The larger dams approximately cost 10 to 15 billion each, and except Basha and Kalabagh Dam, none of the other dams feasibilities or infrastructure are ready. So we request the government to show political will and increase the budget allocation for the construction of dams, so that the Ministry of Water and Power is able to establish itself on water lines. We request an increase of the budget from 8% to 12%, because a lot of time has been lost, and in our neighborhood, a lot of dams have been created at this point in time.
Small dams or large dams?
Both.
Thank you. Education. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get out of the screen. Anyone?
Thank you, Honorable Sir. On behalf of the Education Ministry, I would like to state that US is funding defense in Pakistan as well as the IMF, which is the only reason why IMF is involved in our country is for the funding of the defense sector. And looking at our country's situation today, there's so many bombs, there are so many terrorist activities present in our country. I would like to question them, where are all the funds going? Where are all the money received from foreign countries going? And I would like to state that in previous sector, where we are aware of diseases, but in rural areas there is lack of awareness. If there is no education, basic education provided, then there will be no ways to make the rural people aware of diseases. There will be no improvement in the health sector. Previously, in 2005 and 2006, there was a percentage of 2.21% of GDP in contributing to the education sector, and that even is decreasing in the year of 2010. From 22 million people being illiterate, it has increased to 880 million people. I would like to request, sir, the education department needs a bit of increase in their GDP in order to improve the state in Pakistan.
Do you have any recommendations for the scholarships that are being revoked by the present government?
We, as a country which is not so rich in wealth, people still are working and trying to, due to the unemployment rate increasing, we, as a country which needs funds, would request for more scholarships, as our students here are trying very hard and would like to go abroad, study, come back, help in the foreign affairs, help in trade, help in the defense sector. If they aren't educated, then who will help where?
Education. How do you intend to create a will to study among people in the rural areas? How do you intend to create a will to study amongst people in the rural areas?
Foreign universities, people are coming, setting seminars, setting debates, which increase the will and the power for students here to improve and to work hard, study, go abroad, and help in there for their country.
Defense.
Honorable Chair, it's hilarious. Honorable Chair, it's hilarious. They're talking about sending children abroad. First provide them basic education till the 5th grade. Honorable Speaker, and one of the previously mentioned that the literacy rate is 50%. Honorable Chair, that is a joke as well. We know who is considered literate, who can write their names. So we can clearly see. As I previously mentioned, that Honorable Chair, respected Minister from the Education Department. Yes, as I previously mentioned, that 2,500 to 3,000 schools under the Federation, under the Federal Ministry of Education, are sheltering cattle. The teachers registered there are driving salaries. Why? Nobody knows why. Honorable Chair, there is no need for an increment in the budget.
Defense, are you suggesting that the budget not be allocated to education, be allocated to...
No. We are talking about
Defense, you should present arguments for your...
We are talking about making those systems work efficient, not cutting their budgets. And Honorable Chair, I just...
what about defense?
Yeah, Honorable Chair, coming to that. The Minister again stated that what is the Defense Ministry doing? What is the Army doing? Go ask the people of Sabat. They will tell you what are they doing. They feel much more secure. Go read the print media, go watch the electronic media. Honorable Chair, that is why the Defense Ministry deserves an increment in their budget. Thank you.
Pakistan as a nation is economically weak, but does not realize the social economic revolutions of science and technology that should bring about efforts to contribute to overall welfare. This should be recognized with serious its ambition. What we have next is that the Ministry of Education requires sources of technology to amalgamate new procedures and technological advancements. Science and technology is not about flying to the moon, but about bringing flexible and easy methods to simplify the way of life as we have today. And next one we have is that the Department of Justice advocates that the central issue of our country is justice. But how do you give justice to those dying of hunger, justice to those unable to pay bills, or buy the necessary things required in life which fall under international standards if you are not advancing your science and technological methods? Eminent and talented scientists can be offered to promote science and technology here. A barter of technology can increase our own trade, and it will allow foreign investment to flow in our own country. So what I suggest as main policy is that every area of life is touched by science and technology. We need to realize that. Silicon technology, power and water and power, medicine, equipment for infrastructure is we as the Ministry of Science and Technology, that is our main motive for the year 2011 to bring about furtherance in Pakistan as a nation. So I emphasize on the debate for an increase in the budget of Ministry of Science and Technology, as it will benefit all the members, all the ministries that we have in our house right now. Thank you.
The Ministry of Communication would like to address the Defense Ministry, and they said that basically they're attacking everyone, but like we would like to align ourselves with them on the fact that they did help with the Ministry of Communication. So basically the Ministry of Communication would like to align ourselves with the Ministry of Defense, but it says that it has been back to the country. But it would also like to point out that the only reason they could do so was because of sufficient resources they had due to their increased budget, and because due to lack of resources in every other sector of the economy. A lot of the struggles would not be helped because of the fact that there was lack of infrastructure, there were no roads leading to those places, and the Defense Ministry with their resources of helicopters could do so. But, so basically I would like to suggest that maybe other sectors should be given a chance and given an increase in the budget, because the Defense Ministry already has its resources.
Communication, if you are supporting the demands of the Defense Ministry.
I'm not, no, I said I'm only aligning myself with the fact that it did, I'm supporting the fact that they did help the country, but the only reason they could do so was because of
you will not support that stance at the cost of your own sector.
Exactly.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. This is actually in reply to a point brought up by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I believe, a little while back, as the issue of the national alien registration does indeed fall under the authority of the Interior Ministry. There are an estimated 3.35 million illegal immigrants in Pakistan. They're already burdening the country's already strained socio-economic infrastructure and adding to the crime rate. The most latest and hugely controversial case of Raymond Davis is just one of the examples of such a case. The administrative efforts to counter the alien populace so far have met with very limited success in declaration of these aliens due to the lack of nationality, identification documents to the alien, and the unwillingness of the native country to accept them on declaration as keeping the above in view and in order to establish the sanctity of the rights of citizenry, the Ministry of Interior would like to demand a substantial increase in the sum of the budget allocated in order to meet the demands of the national aliens registering inside our country. Thank you.
There are more than 20 ministries over here. There are more than 20 ministries over here, but I don't understand why only the Ministries of Education and Defense are being discussed. More importantly, I would like to request everyone to stay firm on their stance and discuss their problems, how their budget should be increased. I would like to say that the farmers are not well trained and most of them are still using the traditional methods of agriculture. I suggest that it is essential that they are introduced to the new farming methods and technology should be introduced in farms for which we severely need an increment in our budget. And I would also like to refer to the fact that there are so many people in Pakistan who are starving to death. So there is clearly a need for this sector to increase its production. As by the law of demand and supply suggests that an increase in supply of a good would in turn reduce its price. And therefore something as important as food would be affordable for all. The budget proposed that 10 billion would be allocated to the earthquake victims. But recently, millions of people have been devastated due to floods, affecting livestock and agriculture at a larger scale. Our farmers are still recovering from earthquake and now this flood didn't help our cause. A huge increment is needed urgently and I would like to request the Science and Technology Ministry to help our cause by taking a share from defense, which will also help in foreign trade. Thank you.
I'll be speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Planning and Development. 1999, the last time Pakistan went on war, which was with India. Today is 2011. 12 years since our defense came into action. But yet, the Ministry of Defense keeps asking for more money. I will say to my main point. I won't say that they are wrong. We do need national security. But I don't think it is fair to other ministries that their budget somewhat each year remains the same, while the Ministry of Defense keeps asking for more and even gets more.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Representing the Education Ministry, as said by the Defense Ministry, they said, ask people of Sabar that how is the armed forces helping them. As I stated earlier, that due to tribalization, many schools have been shut down. What is the defense doing there when the schools are being shut down? How do people obey education when the schools are shut? When people are not protected and the armed forces is not protecting them, then how do people go to school and obey education? Then again, they said in rural areas, the school is being left and people are not going and acquiring education. That is because the lack of access to school infrastructure is the main reason why children can't obtain education in rural areas. Then coming to the Agriculture Ministry, they said why only defense and education is being discussed. Education is being discussed because it is the basic element that will lead our country to prosperity and progress. And Honorable Chair, the defense of law, justice and human rights sector would like to first of all point out that you made a point that law colleges do not come under this section, but I'd like to point out on the official site, according to function number 19, it says that the administration control of law colleges comes under the sector of law, justice and human rights. And for that, I'd like to give the example of SM Law College, which is actually funded by interior government. Thank you. Now to continue with my stance, I'd like to answer first of all to the Ministry of Science and Technology, who said that we are kind of fighting for the right to justice. So I'd like to quote Dr. Rayas, who is BCRP Director of UNDP, who says, "A country without justice is a country without hope. The fair enforcement of just laws is more than a testament of peace. It is a prerequisite of an equitable society that restores dignity to all." And we are the Ministry of Human Rights as well, so we do think that justice is important. Justice is important because we are talking about science and technology and progression, but what about the people who do not have the right to food, right to live? What about them? Why are we neglecting our people? We are in favor of human rights and justice, and we do believe that it can restore all our problems and solve them.
how does your ministry intend to protect the human rights of people? Quite recently, we have seen gross violations. A young boy was arrested, put in jail for writing something in English examinations. Governor Tansini was assassinated, the federal minister was assassinated, and we have RCIs in jail. We have had so many violations of human rights. What is your plan of action?
Well, we like to advocate two very important factors. The first is the education of law available to all and the awareness of law to everyone in this country so that we can actually protest if something is wrong or a person is not being given their human rights. As we have seen that people do have a lot of strength, and we have seen the Middle Eastern crisis recently, and we do believe that if we are funded correctly and we are given more funds, then actually efficient lawyers would like to work for the government courts and they'll enter this field because they're working privately right now and we're not in favor of that.
Okay, but my question is, do you think simply by telling people about their basic rights, would that solve the issue? Or would stronger constitutional backing support your cause? Or if what you are saying is part of how the political system works, would that support your cause better? Or just informing people about the basic rights? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. See, I would like to say that the Constitution says a lot of things, and just because it's in written form doesn't justify the fact that yes, it will be implemented. First of all, I would like to say that Pakistan is a country of vast diversity. We all agree with that fact, right? So we have different regional languages. So what our sector basically proposes is that the Constitution should be printed in various regional languages. All these systems of laws, they can all be in regional languages. So when there is more awareness, definitely more people will get to know about their rights. As stats I was reading, I'm not sure about the stats exactly, so I will not quote it directly, but I would say that a lot of people want to rise up, but they do not know about law. For example, even women, they want to rise up, but they basically do not know how to do that because there's so much bureaucracy in our legal system that they just can't follow through it.
Thank you. William Rice and Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. First of all, the Minister of Foreign Affairs would like to tell some points over here. Just a while ago, the Ministry of Interior Affairs pointed out that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should handle the Rajiv Davis case. I would just like to say in regard to that on 14 March, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is due to submit a report on the status of David Davis. So about that, the Interior Ministry did not care about. But other than that, one of the officials of the Interior Foreign Ministry said that tourism should be encouraged. I would just like to point out that we are the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Some part of tourism does fall under trade. Therefore, we would like that to be considered as a little bit as one of our things. Other than that, what I would like to say is that there is no mention of allocation towards development projects because I don't think we have their ministry right now over here. The reason that we would like to point that we would like to advocate that is that infrastructure development actually will be an encouragement for foreign investment and trade ties. Therefore, we would like to want some allocation of budget towards development projects. And finally, in the end, I would like so we demand that some more budget, which according to the figures that we have, will have to be at least around 10% more allocated towards infrastructure development, so that more firms can be established, multinationals are attracted towards our country. Other than that, I would just like to say that, ladies and gentlemen, very frankly, I believe that people should keep in mind that presently there are two most important ministries of our country. They happen to be Defense Ministry and the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
No value judgments here. Please, guys, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In response to the Ministry of Justice, we would like to declare that justice is necessary, and yes, it is one of the
because the environment people enjoy over time and tourism also grows. This sector has been neglected throughout. There are so many environmental issues raised in Pakistan. There is water pollution, sewage, industrial waste, and agriculture runoff, limited natural fresh water resources. Majority of people do not have access to potable water. Researchers at the Pakistan Medical Research are recognizing a large proportion of disease in Pakistan are caused by the consumption of polluted water. Central government perspective that do not mention sustainable development strategies. Only a 0.04 million is allocated to the sector. Recently, floods are destroying. Recently, there were floods in Pakistan that had destroyed our economy because of no dams and research and barrages. So I want this more increase in the sector.
For something specific, would you mention?
Yeah, we need barrages, we need dams, that in future there are no such cycles that
Our water is also arguing for dams to show speed. No, we have yes, which is we are representing communication.
I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Communication, and as you just said, that the Ministry of Environment should speak with the Ministry of Power and Water. So in order to do that, we need the Ministry of Communication to be able to connect these two, right? So it is easy for each ministry to demand an increase in our budget, and in many cases, rightly so. But I'd like to clarify the importance of the Ministry of Communication as a backbone to the economy. Previously, the Education Ministry wanted the help of the Ministry of Health to promote health and related to diseases and information about diseases, and also the Ministry of Agriculture requested the help of the Science and Technology Ministry. Without links between the different sectors, dependent on other sectors, be it health, education, or defense, is useless and inefficient. The success of all sectors of the economy and the country depend on transport and other needs making it necessary to invest in the infrastructure. It is unrealistic for us to expect that the health and education will become available to the masses within the next decade or so. However, with improved infrastructure, the Ministry of Communication can ensure increased connectivity between rural and urban areas and make these facilities available to people in short.
Communication is one sector where a lot of money has been spent, especially under General Musharraf's era, and the growth rate has been very high. So how do you justify any increment if given to your sector?
Well, I know we've given a lot of money, but right now there's a lack of connectivity and lack of communication between other sectors, and that is like backbone of most of the problems because they're not connected.
Water and power to speak.
Honorable Speaker, I would just like to add to the Minister of Environment's point that we, the Ministry of Water and Power, would also request the government of Pakistan to grant us more funds so that proper maintenance of dams are carried out. The Planning Commission and Economic Coordination Council should reduce the red tapeism present in their department so that water and energy issues would be tackled as soon as possible. Water and power plays an instrumental role in the development of a nation, so we request that funds be granted to our ministry on raw footings as our infrastructure needs maintenance after the fund floods especially. I hope our budget is enhanced so that the alarming situation could be avoided.
Also, just like to ask a point. The Ministry of Power would like to say that we are not playing money in any other ministry, but just to point out if we forgotten, the House seems to have forgotten about the floods that happened last year. $43 billion loss that occurred in the floods. So we wish that the House provides us with the increment in the budget, because if we would have provided the increment that we had desired in the past 10 years, the flood losses could have been enhanced. Also, the total loss of lives due to the floods and due to the clean water providing and sanitation problems in Pakistan is higher than the loss of lives for the victims of terrorism. Therefore, we just like to add that the Ministry of Power wishes that we have granted the rise in budget so that we can help the people in the rural areas and the poor people to do a very basic thing, live. Thank you.
I would now like to call for a motion to recess. Is there a member in this assembly who would raise a motion? Recess. Is there anyone who seconds the motion? I 9 minutes punctuality will be observed. All of you will take a break and we will be back. You can form alliances if you want to. You can make it a little more interesting. Blocks as well. Go on.